Hey, shalom, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, call Allah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Once again, double honors go out to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone who deserve double honor. Salutations also go out to the fellow Akim around the four corners of the earth, pushing the truth of all honesty and sincerity, trying to wake up the remaining hopefully elect. All right, this is now Mount DC camp. And as an example of what has always been taught, and as it pertains to these devils, these Edomites, these so-called white people, how they've rolled throughout the centuries, their methodology in usurping power and usurping the rule or rulership from other peoples. In this case, we're going to talk about Japheth here, all right? For those of you that don't know the history of Hawaii and how it was stolen from them, um, wow. I didn't want to go into that full-fledged, but yeah, it happened in 1893. You can look it up for yourself. I'm just concentrating on this because in this video, I'm concentrating on the uh, instance in and of itself, how they did this, not the whole history of Japheth and the island of, Captain Cook and all that. But yeah, that is, you can read that for yourself. But this has to do with the so-called last Hawaiian princess, all right? And this is from originally the New York Post via Newsbreak, all right? And it says the so-called last of Hawaii's royalty died Sunday. And I first and foremost have to say bullshit, all right? Abigail, I'm not going to even try it. All right, who was considered the last Hawaiian princess with ancestors that traced back to the royal family that once ruled the islands. Died peacefully at the age of 96. Next to her, listen to this, 69-year-old wife. Yeah, this is how Edom rolls. This is another clue here, according to a Monday morning announcement. Kawana Nakaoa was remembered for her dedication and generosity to the islands, as well as her immense wealth, to the tune of a, follow me now, $215 million trust that came from the sugar plantation business generations earlier, and her successful passion for breeding racehorses. See where we're going here? Guess who provided all that labor? She held no formal title, another clue, but was a living symbol of the Hawaiian monarchy before the kingdom was overthrown by American businessmen in 1893. By American businessmen in 1893. This is referenced, for those of you who know about Major General Smedley Butler of the United States Marine Corps, a statement he gave back in the 30s, in his testimony before Congress. And he wrote the book War is a Racket, all right? And he made a reference to, in that speech, about he could teach Al Capone a thing or two, because compared to what Al Capone was lord over, the work he had done for these very same people that that's referenced here as far as American businessmen, and that was the thing, he knew it was bullshit, and that was just what he had done in the military. They were just an extension, or they were just the thugs for the American business elite, all right? And ultimately, it goes all back to the elite banking families of this world, with the Rothschilds and Oppenheimers and other families. All right, Lobes and, so-called Jewish. Yes, I said it, fuck them. All right, because this is what it goes back to, a criminal empire, all right, that's used someone else's identity to lord over the earth. But this was given to them. It tells you that in Job 9:24. The earth was given into the hands of the wicked. And yet, because of their pride, they think they did this by their own hand. I believe it's in Isaiah 10th chapter. Anyway, it goes on to say, Abigail will be remembered for her love of Hawaii and its people. Really? Her wife, Veronica, said in a statement, and I will miss her with all of my heart. Yeah, but you got that money. Her great grandfather, now here's where you follow the bouncing ball. For those of you old enough, remember those old cartoons where they had the white ball over the words as they appeared on the screen. Follow me here, please. Her great grandfather, James Campbell, now you got to remember, she was born in 1926. All right. So her great grandfather, James Campbell, so you know this is going way back, an Irish businessman and one of Hawaii's largest landowners that struck rich in the sugarcane industry. Of course, he had a lot of, if not free labor, very cheap labor. Married Abigail Kuahilani Mai Pina Bright. Whew. Their daughter then married Prince David Kawanakawa, who was named an heir to the throne. So this was a legitimate heir to the throne. Okay, here's where it gets tricky. Finally, the prince and his wife Abigail Wahaika Ahu'ula Campbell had their daughter Lydia Morris, who eventually gave birth to Abigail in Honolulu. Did you catch that? Never mind my horrible attempt at pronouncing these names. Did you get that? When the prince died, his widow adopted there's a gap here. When the prince died, his widow adopted their grandchild, Abigail. But where's the link which helped boost her right to call herself a princess? Though she admitted to Honolulu Magazine in 2021 that if monarchy persisted, her cousin would have been the island's next ruler instead of her. Why? Why? This is why this is so important when you trace lineage. All right. Now let's go to, because I happen to pull it up on the web, and this is her right here, Abigail Kawanakawa, whatever. Like I said, she was born in 1926, and she just passed away a few days ago. It says sometimes called Keku, whatever, was a member of the Hawaiian royal family from the house of Kawananakoa. She was referred to by many as a princess, an honorific, there you go, commonly bestowed upon the descendants of titled subjects of the kingdom or important figures in Hawaiian history, although she held no official title or role in the Hawaiian state government. Why? Coming on down, that's all that other bullshit. Parents, biological mother, that's correct, as according to the other article. And it gets Abigail Campbell Kawananakoa, adoptive mother. Okay, birth and early life. Kawananakoa was the only child of Lydia Kawanakawa, born during her marriage to Irish-American William Jeremiah Ellerbrock, which was not mentioned in the former article. Kawananakoa was educated at, blah, 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 Shanghai, American student, Shanghai from, whatever, Notre Dame, Belmont, California. All right, because they had that money. She got around, all right? Boom, let's go on down, line of succession to the throne, all right? It says the Kingdom of Hawaii's last two monarchs, David Kalakaua, all right, they both were childless. Because of this, both monarchs named family members as heirs, but they were not of their seed, all right? Including Princess Iulani, the daughter of Princess Miriam, anyway, sister of the two rulers, all right? At the age of 6, she was legally adopted by her grandmother, Princess Abigail Campbell Kawananakoa, in the Hawaiian tradition of Hanai, which is the intention that she remain a direct heir to a possible restoration of the kingdom. All right, this is how these motherfuckers, all kinds of confusion here. That's my point. See, this is some shit that the so-called royals in London pulled at the turn of the last century. All right, 1901 to be precise, with that proclamation. Look it up for yourself. All right. Oh, and all this confusion. See, this is why it's so important to trace your lineage through the father. All right. It's less complicated. You don't have to go through all this shit. This is confusion. All right. Anyway, it says on February 10th, 1883, David Kawananakoa was granted the title of Prince and style of His Royal Highness by King Kalakaua through letters patent. All right, and it will be like 10 years later, and then they were overthrown. You know, it says by American businessmen in 1893. Let's get some scriptures here because, like I say, this all confusion. This is Micah 2:1. It says, "Woe to the oppressors! Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand." All right. "And they covet fields and take them by violence, and houses and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage." This is what they do. They covet. What does it mean to covet? All right, let's go to let's see. Hold on. Covet. All right, let's see. All right. That's not going to give it to me. Let's see. Got to go to Habakkuk on this one. Say, yea, also because he transgresses by wine, he is a proud man. No one's more proud than an Edomite, a so-called white man. Neither keepeth at home who enlarges his desire as hell. He has to have it. All right. He wants what is his, or what he thinks is his, and he wants what is yours. He's got to have it. And is as death and cannot be satisfied. Now we're getting into what's known as avarice. Let's look these two up. I didn't intend. Hold on. Let's see. Let me get another page here. Let's look up covet. All right. To feel strong or immoderate desire for that which is others. What did I just say? To wish for something longingly, desire. To covet that which is another's. We want the definition. We already know what covet. Okay. To wish for earnestly. We already said to wish, to desire what belongs to another. Let's look at some synonyms. All right. Crave, hanker, hunger, itch, lust. All right. Salivate, thirst, yearn for. All right. Now let's look up. Hold on. Let's see. Let's look up something else here. Let's look up, because this is actually what describe it a little bit better. Avarice. All right. Immoderate desire for wealth, cupidity. Let's see what dictionary.com says. Insatiable greed for riches. Inordinate, miserly desire to gain and hoard wealth. Who's the greatest miser that we should all know? It's a classic story. They've made movies about this subject. Ebenezer Scrooge. All right. Who do you think they're talking about with that individual? All right. Greedy. All right. It's not a good thing to be. All right. That's why he's known as a covetous All right, there's warnings, all kinds of scriptures warning about being covetous. All right. Um, Avarice is a fancy word for good old fashioned greed. It's one of what some call the seven deadly sins. All right, and that goes back to Catholicism. I believe it was, is it St. Augustine? Seven deadly sins, seven virtues, uh, righteous virtues, I think. Something like that. It's been a long time. Anyway, so we got that straight. So this is what motivates the so-called white man. All right. So I don't think we need to go back, but you've got that hopefully squared away. I'll put the links in the description box. But this is how they roll. Got all that money. Here they are, her and her so-called wife. That's another thing. They being the border of wickedness in Malachi, the first chapter. All right, verses 1 through 4. The point being in verse 4. All right, wherever they go, this is the shit that follows with them. All right, we were in Habakkuk briefly in Habakkuk's second chapter. It goes into that. In fact, let's go back to that real quick. I didn't want to take too long on this. Habakkuk 2. Yeah, also because verse 5 in the verse 4 tells you that the soul that is within him is what? Not upright. You're dealing with the wicked here. All right, yeah, also because he transgresses by wine, he's a proud man, neither keepeth at home. Don't we already know that? He's all over the world trying to manage everybody's business, but that's that avarice, that's that insatiable appetite for somebody else's shit. All right, who enlarges his desire as hell and is as his death and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations and heapeth unto him all people. Shall not all these take up a parable against him? Is that not what the people are doing? They're tired of his shit. And a taunting proverb against him and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his. How long? And to him that layeth himself with thick clay. This whole system is a debt-ridden system, especially in America. You've got some countries that don't have things like a credit system, believe it or not, but you know, you have to buy things outright. And that's what people older than my generation, some of them, even there's, what was this old slave named Fountain Hughes? That's what, you know, he was 102 when he died. And he was like, they interviewed him back in the 40s, I believe it was. And he was like, he always believed, he said, you know, he never did deal with credit. If he couldn't afford it, you know, fuck it. If he couldn't afford to pay it for it outright, I'll put it that way. Fuck it, you know. Listen to his interview, lots of wisdom. This man came up, I believe, in the 1840s. So, hey, he says, shall they not, all right, rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, going to Isaiah 33rd chapter, you know, woe to you that were not spoiled, you know, you're going to be spoiled, you know, what goes around comes around. And awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them. Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee. Isaiah 33 again, 1. Because of men's blood, and for the violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell in. Little Numbers 35th chapter in there. All right, woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil. And it's not going to work. None of this is going to save you. All these scriptures, James 5th chapter is a warning. Ezekiel 7th chapter, all your gold, all this silver, all this shit is not going to save you or any of those that follow your doctrine. And I'm talking about Jakes too. They're going to get caught up in this shit. Look at this. Behind her vast wealth, the princess also seemed to amuse herself when people came asking for money. Another trait. They like to be looked at as being benevolent because of their vast wealth. Well, how did they get it? When the bishop from the Catholic Diocese of Honolulu asked if she could spare $100,000 to mark the canonization of Saint Marianne. Ain't that a joke? I'm not going to get into that. She replied only if a photo was taken of Pope Benedict XVI accepting the check. Saints or the Israelites only. That's why I was her personal attorney until 2017, Jim Wright recalled. Wright said she was left disappointed when the bishop agreed. She was really hoping they would tell her to buzz off. Wright said, while noting she was heartened when the Dalai Lama rejected her money in 2012. She was always curious about what people would do for money. There's a movie with the late, what was this actor's name? Not Jurgen Prochnow. It's called Needful Things. I'm trying to think of the actor. Well, got the internet here. Hold on. Let's see. Needful Things. There we go. Stephen King. Let's see. Max von Sydow. That's who it was. The late Max von Sydow. Terrific actor. Late actor. All right. Yeah. All these, these people that would have their eyes set on certain things, and he would agree to give it to them if they would do certain things for him. Of course, I ain't gonna tell you who it was, but it's a good movie for those of you that never saw it. This is how Esau rose. All right, that's him in a nutshell. They tell on themselves. All right, talking about these so-called white people. All right, you just gotta know when they're doing it. All right. So hey, with that, I hope who all views this is edified. Yeah, this is how these devils roll. This is how they squeeze up into other people's houses. When I say houses, I mean their ancestry, even their lineage, and overtake it. That's why I mentioned the so-called British royals. I'm not the motherfucking originals. King James was a Jake. That's why they referred to themselves as Jacobites, the Stuart line. All right. And here they come. If you take a good look at Queen Victoria, a real good look. All right. So with that, until the next video, hey, shalom.